Hey everyone, welcome to the Watch and Listen podcast. This is a podcast all about watches. I do it with my friend Mr. Cameron Weiss, the CEO of the Weiss Watch Company and a master watchmaker. I am your other, less knowledgeable host, Matt Farah, but I keep things moving along. This episode is brought to you by Crown & Caliber, the only place you want to buy a pre-owned luxury watch on the internet. Buying pre-owned watches on the internet can be super sketchy. Things can be fake. Things can be not as advertised. Some places just use stock photos. Not Crown & Caliber. When you go to Crown & Caliber, the watch you see on the screen is the watch that shows up at your door. The buying process is easy. The selling process is easy. That's right. You want to trade up or trade out or just sell out of a watch, Crown & Caliber's got you covered. You can have money in hand within 24 hours and that watch on its way to them. Use code WL150, that's WL150, to get $150 off your first watch purchase at Crown & Caliber. Code WL150 from your friends at the Watch and Listen podcast. We are also brought to you by Beeline Coffee. I love my Beeline Coffee. I drink it on the daily. It is just delicious, micro-roasted, micro-brewed. It is special beans from a special place. And I have been involved in the process from the tasting. It's honestly, it's my favorite coffee. I went through a lot of beans to find a coffee that really I thought was the best coffee I ever had. And Beeline Coffee's new roast, the Roasted Tire 3.0, is it. Use code CHRONO to get 15% off your entire order. Code CHRONO at BeelineCoffee.com. All right, on this episode of the Watch and Listen podcast, you know what? Vortic watches are some of the most interesting watches on the planet right now. These guys are saving American watchmaking by taking old pocket watches, right? Like old Illinois movements and like old, just like stuff that's like gone, right? They find these old movements, they have brand new cases, and they case them up, and each watch is individual. It's so cool. On this episode, Thayne, the COO of Vortic Watch Company, is here to talk about it. No more delays. Let's get to the show. Watch and Listen podcast. Hey kids, it's the Watch and Listen podcast. What's happening? Welcome. Big news. Cameron's a dad.
Yeah,
just
finally.
drop right in. Cameron's a dad. Genevieve? Is it Genevieve or Genevieve?
Genevieve. Genevieve.
Because that's like,
I'm American.
That's way too many syllables to call a kid for their whole life. So what's the short version going to be? Jenny?
I don't know. It might be Jenny, or something like that. Yeah.
Jenny with a G. It's going to be a G-E-N.
Yeah,
right?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like
We'll
second
see.
gen. Then you
We'll
have
see.
then you could have another kid call it Genevieve, and then you could have first gen and second gen, like your Land Rover.
Yep.
And welcoming to the studio, Thayne, a man with no last name.
Hello, everybody.
Thayne of Vortic Watches. I have been interested in these watches for a minute. Click over, fucker. And what Vortic Watches does, if I am not mistaken, is they save old pocket watch from the old pocket watch movements from the junker and turn them into beautiful wristwatches. Is that about right,
That's
Thayne?
exactly right. Yep.
That's awesome. And you're the COO. So
Correct.
you're what's that, number 2? Number 3?
Yeah, number 3, I guess. I'm gonna say
how
2
many?
just to see. There's 5 of us there, so it's a small
Total.
company. Yeah,
5 total.
Mm-hmm.
And how many of them are watchmakers?
So we don't have any watchmakers that do the actual movement service in house. We have 3 watchmakers that we send them to that actually do the restoration of the pocket watch.
Oh, okay. And so tell me about the sort of ethos of this, unless you guys are just like super pocket watch aficionados.
Yeah, I mean, none of us really were pocket watch aficionados, but we were America aficionados, and
America.
we wanted to make a watch that was made in America, and that was the only way we could really do it, is to use vintage pocket watches that were made here in the U.S. Hey, that's me.
Hey, that's you.
How
With
about
a Harley Davidson watch?
Yeah.
That's a pretty
is
cool
that a
dial.
vintage pocket watch
It
Harley
is.
Davidson?
Yeah, it had that dial on it. We found it. I mean, we found it just in a bunch of watches that we were buying. And
Really?
Said that's something special. So
Plus, that was a loom dial too. That's
yeah, for sure.
Are
Unique.
there enough pocket watch movements going to the trash heap that you can have an entire business on this with a long-term plan?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, most of the watches we get, we call orphaned movements because they don't have a case because the case has already been scrapped for the gold or silver value. So most of the stuff we get is literally in a drawer or a bucket in a gold scrapper shop, and we take it from there, find the ones that can be restored, and start the process.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Even a lot of good movements end up, like perfectly working, good order movements end up scrapped because the gold is so valuable.
Oh, and even the gold filled cases. I mean, even gold plated cases, you can get $20 or $30 sometimes. So not even the super nice solid gold cases. Everything gets pulled out and scrapped.
Yeah. Make this a little
Cool.
Yep. I know it's hanging off the table. It's a
all
little
right.
awkward.
It's good.
But,
I can drop this down.
Oh, lowrider. So, all right. So then you are not beholden to a specific movement.
Correct.
Is it literally every watch is different? You just find what you find and it goes in a case and that's it?
Yeah, and our cases are all the same. We have, on the inside, we have inserts, PVC inserts that fit the different movements to fit inside of our case.
Oh, okay.
And so any movement, I mean, if one of our inserts doesn't fit, we can obviously throw something on the CNC mill and make something that does hold it in there nice and tight.
Wow. So how did you guys just start deciding to do this?
It was just that, like I said, wanting to make an American-made watch and doing a lot of research to try and find movements and parts and things like that we could make an American-made watch, and that wasn't possible at the time. I mean, you're making
when did you guys start
that way? But 2014 was
Cameron. When was your first watch?
Well, we started in 2013, but not with American-made movements.
Yep.
Right.
Swiss movements, American cases and dials. So it took us a while to get into the actual movement making.
So did it start by just buying a bunch of movements, or did it start by describe the process of beginning to make these watches?
Yeah, I mean, beginning to make the watches, obviously we found they did. I wasn't there for the first couple of years of the company, but they found some pocket watch movements that they wanted to turn into watches, and we're looking at different ways to make the cases. But getting CNC milled cases, you had to be a pretty big quantity to get something that would work as far as the price would go to sell a decent price watch. So they turned to 3D printing, and the first couple cases were a 2-piece case that was made out of steel, 3D printed steel. So it was a tank. You can imagine a 3D printed steel watch that's the size of that one you're holding.
Yeah, I mean, it was just super heavy.
Yeah.
Is that it?
This is not that heavy. This is titanium, right?
For sure. Yeah, that's titanium.
Yeah,
and
very
so
nice.
there was no
very cool.
And there was no water resistance. It was a 2-piece case. It didn't have any water resistance.
Is that too bright?
Make it a little bit darker. A little darker. A little more. Need more. Yeah, there we go. All right. That's lovely. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, that's fine. And then so we started checking out some different materials and seeing what could be 3D printed, and anything can be 3D printed these days. So titanium was the route we went.
This one here is 3D printed, right?
Correct. Yeah, and here's a 3D printed. Where's the? Oh, I don't have it up here.
Is every case you brought 3D printed?
No.
This one's machined.
That looks like a machine.
That's
case,
machined.
Right? Here, let me zoom out a little bit there.
So this one's 3D printed?
Correct.
Yeah.
And this one's machined titanium.
Yep.
What's the material on the 3D printing here?
Titanium.
Okay, so
Also
both
titanium,
but just a different...
Yep.
So these watches are these things are big.
Yeah, we have to obviously go off of the size of the pocket watch that we're doing. Those two are the largest ones that we make. That's
like a 47 or something?
49.
Well, those are big.
Mm-hmm.
That's like
my 38.
Yeah.
Well, actually, here.
Go side by side.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's big, but
you got to be big wristed or big egoed to wear.
Yeah, if you're into like a big
49.
Breitling or something like that, or a Panerai, this wouldn't be such a big step up.
And that one's got a Waltham movement.
Correct.
I took it from your website that Waltham movements are fairly popular to go in your watches.
They are. Yeah, I mean they made a lot of them. Waltham and Elgin made more watches than anybody else during that time. So they're we can definitely find a lot more of those than we can the other movements.
Those companies made more watches than a lot of current day Swiss companies have made in their entire existence.
Really?
In like 1 year.
Yeah.
Those companies would make millions of watches.
Yeah, between 1850 and 1950, Elgin made 60 million watches.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They had months that they did hundreds of thousands.
Wow.
At their peak.
So they really had a manufacturing like facility. Like
yeah.
were this all assembly line machine made stuff, or were these made by hand? Back in
all
the day?
assembly line, but it was very different because they didn't have CNC machines, so everything was manually operated. So kind of like
those lathes and
those
old
Tornos machines that I have.
Yeah,
they had machines like
Cameron's
that.
got some like beast like machine.
Yeah.
Have you even figured out what to do with those yet?
No, they're just
photo shoots, right?
Yeah, just cool photo shoots. They're neat looking.
There's got to be a picture of them on your Insta. Is that no? That's the Land Rover.
Yeah,
I can't. They must be.
A
They're
huge
like
amount
background.
of cast iron.
These. Isn't
that
it?
That one's actually a straight line, like a guilloche decorating machine.
Oh, okay.
Not guilloche exactly, but similar to a guilloche machine.
They appear in like 30% of your Instagram posts. But now I can't
because they're super.
When
cool
I need
looking.
them, I can't seem to find them. They're good like set pieces to put your shit on. Yeah.
But anyway, those styles of machine, it was actually Waltham developed machines. So there was a Waltham Tool Company.
These guys.
Yep. Yeah, those ones.
They're beasts.
So there were factories with like hundreds of those.
Yeah.
And one operator at each machine just pumping out maybe balance staffs or screws in quantities that were millions. Just they revolutionized watch manufacturing. That happened here in the US. So we have a huge amount of history in large production, serial production of watches way before the Swiss ever did it.
Yeah, they started the process of actually being able to have interchangeable parts as well. Like it used to be before Waltham, it was you built one watch and you made each part fit. But on the Waltham, on their assembly line, they were able to actually use interchangeable parts and use the different, parts for each watch.
Yeah. So what do you do with the movements? Do you just can you just drop it in a case, or do you take them apart and remake them, or
everything is completely disassembled, cleaned, relubricated, calibrated? I mean, everything is put through the paces, and we only put watches that we're getting great results out of, for sure.
Oh, so do you test the movements before they go in the watch?
Yeah, definitely. And once they're in the watch, I mean, we test them when they come back in the pocket watch case, because we have a stack of pocket watch cases. So when we ship the watches to and from watchmakers, they go back into a pocket watch case. That's the best way to ship them. And when we get them back, we test them in the pocket watch case. Then we assemble them into a watch, and then we test them in the watch case as well.
I mean, these bridges are pretty highly.
This is a high grade movement here.
These things are pretty well decorated. You do the decorating, or does that was done like that?
We don't touch the movement at all. The movement is 100% exactly how it was out of the pocket watch, working. So if somebody sends us their grandfather's watch, and then down the road they're like, you know what, I like this wristwatch, but I want it to go back in the pocket watch case.
You can just drop it right back in.
Yep.
Oh, how neat! What's the prettiest movement you brought?
Probably
that's
that one.
That's a very high grade movement.
This one is a Waltham Maximus. This is a 23 jewel 12 size, and this is the highest grade 12 size watch that Waltham made.
Oh, that's a nice one too. Throw that under there too.
That's the fully machined titanium case.
Yeah.
So that's a 12 size.
Oh wow!
And you can put your watch next to that one. That one's a lot more wearable. That's 46 millimeter.
That's a beautiful movement.
The difference a little bit here.
Let me zoom out slightly here.
Right.
And the thickness too. The other one's a lot.
46 is wearable without being absurd. I'm wearing a 45 right now, and even I have a big wrist, so I'm a pretty extreme. You probably have big wrists.
I do, and I'm wearing that 46, and
Let me try that. Let me try this 46 on. Let me see how that works.
This one's the 46.
Yeah. See, this definitely is closer to a normal size.
Definitely, and that's our most popular watch. I mean,
what's the smallest you go?
We have a 36 millimeter.
Oh, you do?
It's thick though, because it has to fit the pocket watch in there. So a lot of 36 millimeter modern watches are half the thickness of the watch.
That's pretty cool. That doesn't look absurd. That looks nice.
Yeah, that'll be like a Panerai.
I like that as a lefty. I'm a lefty, and I wear a watch on my right wrist, and the crown is out of the way, which is nice because the crown's up top. So almost all watches as a lefty, I have to take them off to adjust them. I could leave this on. And does this pull out? Is that how this works?
It does. Yeah, that one does.
Okay. Does it screw? Is it screw down?
It's not screwed down. Nope, just pull it out.
Oh yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. This is quite beautiful. That's lovely. How much do these watches go for? What's your range here?
Yeah, they start at about $1,100.
Okay.
And that's 15 jewel or 15 jewel Waltham or Elgin. Beautiful movements and a workhorse. I mean, they're great watches. And then you get into the higher jewel, a little more rare, like this Maximus here is $3,499, $3,400.
Oh wow! So it's not nothing.
Oh, for sure.
That's a real fine watch price.
Yep.
Yeah.
But and that only gets into that price on something that's that rare. I mean, that 23 jewel Maximus, I think they made 2,000 of them. So when you're talking about Elgin making 60 million watches and there's only 2,000 of those floating around, that's
yeah. How cool! What else you got?
A lot of stuff.
What's the most popular option?
So the most popular option is definitely this 12 size. And we just released that machine case. So we're going to see, if people like the 3D print or the machine case. But it seems like people really do like the 3D printed cases just because of that technology, kind of blending the most modern technology with a 100-year-old watch movement,
Yeah. I feel like the kind of person that wears one of these wants to be able to say, like, this is an American pocket watch, and that's a cool story.
For sure.
But additionally, 3D printed watch cases are a really cool story as well. You don't see that.
Is this brass?
It is. It's bronze.
Bronze?
Bronze, yeah. And so I have the one I'm wearing. I'll take it off. That
Bronze
one,
is like the new hotness. Everyone's talking about bronze now.
and this one's a couple months old, so you can actually see the patina, the difference between a new one.
Oh, wow. So that's the same case.
Same exact thing.
Oh, look at that. That's
Yep.
rad. Wait, come on. Why is this thing being...
It's not
I don't
my
know.
fault.
I don't know if this is the new the Wirecast update or if my mouse has dirt in it, but like sometimes it takes a couple clicks. So if you out there, if I somehow miss a shot, I am doing the best I can. I'm sorry. It takes like multiple clicks sometimes, but there's a real big color difference between the one on the right, which is brand new, and the one on the left, which you've been wearing for a while.
Yep.
I like
and
the
not long,
aged
month and a
dial.
half, 2 months.
Really?
Yep.
Well, I guess you're not wearing it in the water. So that's
Correct.
that's all sweat.
That's all sweat.
Permanent.
That's all it is.
Permanently
yeah.
sweat.
Yeah.
That's really pretty. Do any of these things have loom on them?
No. I mean,
If they
there's some
did, it
from the
wouldn't
past,
glow,
but it
yeah.
doesn't work.
Is there
Yeah.
radium dials you're fucking with?
We've had some that came through. Definitely.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you handle them?
We try not to.
Yeah.
And if it's a customer's watch, if it was a grandfather's watch or something, they're sending it in, we'll make a watch out of it. But we'll definitely let them know that it's probably not the best thing.
Yeah. By the way, this thing's super shady.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a real fan of the idea of these. I didn't really know what to expect until I actually put one in my hands. You know what I mean? It's because it's tough to get a sense of scale on pictures.
You can't do it.
Yeah. And my friend Jack Baruth owns one that's he owns a huge one. It's like a 48 or it's like a giant one. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. That's real big.
Yeah.
You gotta be fucking ready to say something to somebody.
Yeah,
with
for sure. But
with a 49
try that one on with the tan strap or that one. That's 51.
This is
that's
51.
So that's the railroad movement. So
this
you
is
have
the Stallone watch.
Yeah.
You need to have this goes on like a horse. This thing is crazy.
and me, a horse
Yeah.
and myself.
This thing is it's big, but it's not. You know what? It's not heavy.
Yeah.
It's
not heavy, and we had to move the lugs kind of out of the way to get out of the way of the crown.
It's
Yeah,
really
that's
big.
true.
The strap kind of wraps around your wrist, and it doesn't feel like as big of a watch. It doesn't wear as big of a watch.
It doesn't wear like a 51 is
a big
really
watch.
big.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a U-boat
Yeah.
watch. But I guess I could get used to it. You're kind of right. I could kind of get used to it.
I definitely got used to it. The first one I built for myself was a 16 size.
Wow.
And then I put on the little 12 size, and it felt so small.
You know what's awesome about this? Put this under the camera. The 5 and the 7. The 7 is basically a backwards 5. And
Wow, yeah, I didn't even notice that.
It
That's
is
pretty cool font.
amazing how well that works. That you don't really notice it.
Yeah.
A 7 is like a
What?
backwards 5 there.
How
Yeah.
did I not notice that?
That's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, especially since that subdial kind of eats into a little portion of the number. It's a unique way to
Right.
do it. I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah. So how'd you get into watches, Thayne?
Oh, I've been into watches forever. I mean, I found $20 when I was riding my bike one time when I was, I think, 13 years old, and I bought a watch, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a little Timex or Casio digital, and from there on out, it just turned into an obsession. I've always been into watches. Yeah.
It's cool, man. You said you took apart you took apart every watch you've ever had.
I think every watch I've ever had. Yeah, and it's not good.
You were just
It's not a good
straight
thing.
broken
Yeah,
them?
yeah. I mean, when you don't know what you're doing and you get all excited and buy a Rolex Submariner and take the thing apart, it's probably not the best idea. But
Did you take
it
apart a
still
Rolex
works.
Submariner?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you ruin it?
No,
Okay,
no, it
cool.
still worked.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a good idea, even if it came out working.
I can understand that.
So I noticed a couple differences on these
Yeah, talk to
these
me.
here. And I have an idea what it is, but
Put
the
some under
bezels.
the camera.
Uh-huh.
The bezels, for one.
Yep,
You got the coin edge up here.
for sure.
And then these are just machined one piece into the case, right?
Yep. Yeah, the coin edge one on the larger, the 51, that's our railroad case. So that's a lever set watch.
All
So
right.
that bezel, you can counterclockwise turn it comes off, pull the lever to set the time.
Perfect.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So that's
what makes something a quote railroad? It's just what's railroad
For sure.
significance?
Yeah,
of
there's
railroad?
there's a lot that goes into calling it a railroad grade watch. They had a lot of trouble on the trains when someone would bump, the pendant set watch and reset the time, and then they're a few minutes off from the train in front of them, and there was accidents that happened because of watches being off. So they wanted to make a railroad grade watch that would stop a lot of those problems. So those watches, you have to actually remove the bezel, pull a lever to set the time. They're either 16 or 18 size, so they're the larger watches. They have to be set at 12 o'clock, so they can't be a 3 o'clock setting crown. Has to be a white dial with black Arabic numerals.
Huh.
There was a lot of different things, and 21 joule, minimum 21 joule, and they had to be 30 seconds a week in accuracy. So they had to be plus or minus 30 seconds a week.
Oh.
A lot of things go into the railroad grade watches. That's why we were excited to get that case finished and actually have a case where you could set the time, pull the lever, and still have some water resistance, and a watch that's going to last a long time.
Yeah.
So let me open this.
Please, yeah.
Do you do it counterclockwise?
Counterclockwise, yeah.
Okay.
Just a normal thread, righty tighty, lefty loosey.
So it's threaded on there. So you unscrew it.
Yep.
That's
That
cool.
should be good. Yep.
Feels nice. So then this is your lever over here?
Yep.
It's a tiny little lever on the
Yep.
side.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Is that focused?
Yeah, now it is.
So right in there's a little lever kind of hidden between the case and this threaded bezel ring right there.
It's a really nice piece.
That's very
That's
cool.
3,400 for that?
Yeah, those ones start at around 3,000 for the railroads, and they go up, to right around that $5,000 mark, depending on the
really?
movement.
Wow.
A movement like this Waltham up-down indicator, super rare, but it's got a power reserve indicator.
Oh, that's awesome.
So something like that, obviously is going to
Well,
cost a little more.
this one I've noticed is this one's still in a pocket watch.
Correct.
So is this just for display purposes?
That was
'cause you were at
actually
show, or
a customer that brought it to me at the show. That's his grandfather's watch, and he wanted it converted. So he dropped it
rad.
off to me, and we're going to turn it into a watch.
Power reserve indicators.
Yeah,
Sweet.
super cool.
Yeah. How long are the reserves for these movements?
So all of them, they kind of vary. There's some that are 60 hours, some that are, right around 24 hours. We test everything to between 26 and 30 hours to make sure you can get at least a full day out of it.
Yeah. You definitely want to get at least one day if
For
you
sure.
wind it every 8 a.m. or whatever.
Yep.
How, because these things, these balance wheels are big. How,
Yeah.
This is meant to go in your pocket originally, right?
Correct.
How, if you shake your wrist around violently, if you ride a bicycle or play a sport or do anything with a lot of hand movements, how resistant to shock are these things?
They're very good. They're
Yeah.
better than we initially thought they would be. They're very durable as far as wearing them every day.
My guess would be that you have to be kind of careful wearing something like this compared to
No.
a normal sport watch or something.
I wear mine at work and bang it on stuff all the time and wear it every day, and I don't have any issues. There is some things that need to be adjusted, I think, sometimes a little bit differently than they would if they were a pocket watch. We did initially get a lot of watches that were over banking. So
I'm sorry, I don't know the term.
I understand. Yeah, the
Cameron?
yeah, you might be better at
help us
explaining
out. What's
overbanking than I, but
Basically, your balance wheel is the amplitude is too high,
Oh, okay.
and what it's doing is it's actually slamming into the other side of the pallet fork
Oh.
when it shouldn't be. So it's spinning all the way around, knocking, and then coming back, knocking, which is not going to be good.
and we were having the issue of the pallet jewel actually going outside of the pallet fork. So when it was out, the pallet fork would get bumped and move. So it wasn't stopping like a double roller would stop it from the
Yeah.
pallet fork coming over, and then it was just locked on the outside.
Yeah, so that happens if you get a shock at just the right moment. Mm-hmm. So the Swiss lever, the design, if it's properly set and all your heights and everything are set properly, you shouldn't have a problem. However, if you hit the watch just at the right time,
Yep.
when it is unlocked,
Yep.
okay, your pallet fork can actually be impulsed by an outside impulse. So hitting your watch at just the right second will actually cause the pallet fork to drop to the other side, and then when the balance wheel swings back, it gets locked.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds bad.
It's
And we
kinda
put
common
fragile
on
stickers on the boxes, but sometimes they don't care about that.
Yeah, and it'll
when we're
be
shipping.
It'll be kind of common on these if you've had a lot of times the balance wheel. You're going to have a new pinion on there. You'll have a new balance staff, which means your roller table will have come off of the staff at some point, and there's a whole bunch of adjustments that need to be done. to get everything back working perfectly. And you can't always get it perfect.
Yeah.
It just, that's the nature of these timepieces.
But then once it does overbank, I mean, if we do have an issue of a watch overbanking, it's something that's fixable.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't really happen in the future.
Yeah.
But in the pocket watch case, you didn't have that happen near as often. The adjustment, I don't think, needed to be quite as tight.
Yeah. So when you get these movements in, what kind of testing do you do on them to make sure that they work?
So, like I said, everything is completely disassembled, cleaned, put back together. And then we time everything in different positions. That's one of the things that a lot of pocket watches weren't really timed as close as we try to make them in all the different positions, because gravity plays a big part of these.
Right,
like you were saying, how large everything is in there.
Yeah.
You know, gravity is going to move, and if there's a little crack in a jewel, it's going to really affect the timekeeping in one way or the other. So we try to test them in all positions and get within plus or minus 15 seconds a day in all positions.
That's a pretty good. Is that a good standard for 15 minutes a day? I guess that's pretty good for a manual wind watch, right? I guess if you're gonna pull out the crown and wind it every single day anyway.
15 minutes a day?
15 seconds a day.
15 seconds
15 minutes
a day?
is a little far.
I mean,
No,
15
minutes would be
15 minutes
bad.
for like a vintage watch a day, not
Yeah.
that bad. If you're
Really?
talking true vintage.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
True
that
vintage
sounds
watches.
pretty bad.
Well,
Who was in here
difference
talking
is-
about how automatic watches from like the 50s and 60s aren't timed correctly for like our hands, because like humans don't like walk and swing their arms anymore. We walk with our hands on our phone.
That was Wolf, Mr. Wolf.
It was Wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
Simon
it.
Wolf,
Yep,
who makes
yep.
watch winders.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said vintage watches are not timed for the modern
Yeah.
arm movements
Yeah.
correctly. Wait, but 15 minutes for a vintage watch is really okay? Sounds terrible.
I mean, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
bad.
But the nature of vintage, if you're one of those guys that wants to have all original parts and everything, all that, then expect to not have great accuracy.
Yeah. Did I say
Yeah.
minutes?
No,
I said
you
seconds.
said
Yeah,
seconds.
seconds.
I wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
if
we're
you
good.
guys are getting these to within 15,
Yeah.
15 seconds only on the plus side, so 0 to 15 or 15 plus or minus?
15 plus or minus.
Yes, you have a
Yep.
30-second variation,
Yep.
which I have my Rolex from 67, and I'm a watchmaker,
Yeah.
and it's plus 30 seconds a day.
Oh, is it?
Like, all the time.
Yeah.
I just know it is, and I'm not going to try and fix it. It's a vintage watch. That's, parts are worn, and they're just not going to be as perfect.
For sure.
And the nature of the watch, the developments, you have a blue hairspring. These are steel hairsprings that were heat treated. I mean, they're not perfect originally.
Yeah.
When they were made, they're not made like the special alloy hairsprings today. So you've got a bimetallic balance wheel where you have one material on the outside, one material on the inside, and as the hairspring warms up, it becomes softer, and it actually slows down. So your balance wheel will actually swing the arms out or in order to compensate for that. Think about when you were a kid and you were in the playground and you got on that
spin
spinning
around,
wheel,
yeah.
and then you hang
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
and then you
Like a figure
go in.
skater too. Yeah,
Yeah.
same deal, right?
So it does the same thing. So it's almost more advanced, like machining wise and watchmaking wise,
Yeah.
because you have two materials hooked together with screws, and you have this hairspring that is more complex to make. Today, hairsprings are a special alloy, and then if it doesn't work, it gets thrown away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to.
Nothing's handmade. It's all just made by machines very quickly. The balance wheel is one part machined out. There's not multiple materials. So it's kind of like if it doesn't work, it's thrown away.
Yeah.
But these were actually handmade and fit together.
So it went in the watch no matter what.
Yeah. You made
Yeah.
it work. Yeah.
They made it work, which is
Yeah.
kind of unbelievable to think that they were able to do hundreds of thousands of these in a month.
Yeah.
And they worked. They were really good.
Yeah.
So
That's so interesting.
just the nature of the old technology, it's kind of like taking an old television and expecting that you're going to get as good of a picture or anywhere close to as good of a picture
Yeah.
as a new
Right,
4K
right,
TV or
right.
something.
Of course.
Man, this one's yours? This Illinois
Yes.
movement?
Yep.
What do you call the gold numbers on this?
Gold numbers.
Are they? That's just it. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't think there's anything special,
I figured
yeah.
there was some kind of like just like Cameron, like move, just like angle that around a little bit, like because it's not loomed, but the way that the gold numbers just like pick up the little bits of
Yeah.
light, I really enjoy that.
And there might be something that they're actually called, but I don't know. I've always
And
just
that
said gold
dial is
numbers.
like worn and distressed,
Oh, yeah,
right?
for
So,
sure.
So is like is every watch just going to be different? Like
Every watch, yeah, they're all one of a kind.
So how do you know? Like, how do I know which one I'm getting if I buy one?
So
shit! I'm so sorry. That thing didn't click over. God damn it! Move it again.
Oh,
Ken.
it wasn't.
It was. I apologize. I sometimes
It's not my fault.
No, I don't know why it's not like clicking properly. The thing's being a pain in the ass, but like you can see when he moves it back and forth, like the way the numbers like move it. It's the same thing I like. Not to drop in Mr. Grand Seiko, but Mr. Grand Seiko does not have loom either. But the indices are so well polished that you can actually see it in very low light.
And a little bit of light reflects it. Yeah, and you can see it.
You
for
don't
sure.
need much light. It's out of focus, but you get the idea. The light is focused.
We out of focus?
It's out of focus, man.
Let's fix that up.
Yay! Up, come back, buddy.
There we go.
So yeah, you can move. If you move it around, you can see how it catches that light in really cool ways. Anyway, I'm sorry the fucking picture's not working properly, but I really like. So anyway, the question was, how do I know which one am I getting, or is every watch sold one at a time?
Yeah, they're all sold one at a time. I mean, everything once it's sold, it's gone, and that's it. So I mean, obviously, if you send in a watch that's your grandfather's and was a hand me down, you know you'll know exactly what that's going to look like. We have some that are pre-built on the website, and you can see. So
where do I go? Oh, I go to Watch Builder
or just
or
store. You can go to store,
Let's-
and that'll show the pre-built watches. We should have the ones that I have here, basically.
So if I pull up the store, you can just see
Yep.
these are all ready to go.
Yep.
All right, so between 1,500 and 2,700 right now.
And then you can go to
This
the
one
watch
has a
builder.
side crown.
Yeah. I mean, however the watch comes, whatever the pocket watch hat is what we'll
What's
make
happening? What are you about here?
Yeah, that's the special
Whoa.
edition Red Rocks.
Oh, so this is your dial.
That's our dial.
Oh,
Yep.
okay,
So we
interesting.
have a sponsorship with the Red Rocks Amphitheater in Denver.
They
and
rule.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I saw
Yeah.
I saw Dave there.
Nice.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
You guys going to the Dave show? He was fucking awesome back in the day. I have the live Pearl Jam from Red Rocks too. It's a great set.
Yeah.
That's a cool dial. What's
Yeah.
that dial made of?
So that's a steel dial made on our CNC mill, and then we colored it in the kiln, and then laser etched all the numbers and logo and everything on there.
That's pretty cool, man. That
So you
looks
just
really
kinda,
nice.
That's like heat strad.
Yep.
That's
and
neat.
it comes
And
in
there's a
different
silver,
colors.
Yeah, there's a silver and then that bronze one.
Ooh. And then this is the movement.
They're all Illinois movements.
Very pretty.
Yep.
That's $2,000. How big is that?
46. That's the 12 size.
Oh,
Yep.
this looks nice.
Yep.
That's cool. Not too over the top. I like it. Very nice.
And then the watch builder up top, if you click on that,
Yeah.
we try to have 100 movements, dials, and hands in that so you can choose
Whoa.
your-
Oh, dude.
So you can choose
Configurator.
everything. Oh, yeah.
Now here's where I'm going to waste about 6 hours.
Yeah,
so,
do it.
So where do I start?
So, well, it's hidden. It says get started at the bottom. It's right under your-
I
yeah.
zoomed in on the screen too big.
And then you can scroll through those and pick
Oh,
anything you
man.
want. Pick the case if you want
Oh,
3D printed, machine, colored, whatever you want.
Yo, we love us car guys love
Yeah, but see
a
some of those. I mean,
configure-
some
Look
of
at
those
that.
are really worn out. and
That's
people
really
love 'em.
worn.
Yeah.
Where can I find some gold numbers though?
Yeah.
Is this gilded
There you
here?
go.
There you go.
The
Done.
Chicago gold number. Oh, look at that Elgin. That's beautiful.
Yep.
1922, 17 jewels.
There's a lot to choose from, and
And are they all the same size? Where does it say the size?
Those are all anything on our watch builder's 12 size. So
Okay,
anything on
cool.
that watch builder's 12.
Ooh,
If
what's
you want
the
a
one in
larger
your
one,
watch? In Illinois?
Yep.
See if we can find one of those. Dude, this is dope. I really like. Look at that font. That's
Yeah.
spectacular.
yeah,
Let's
that's
start.
what I like about that railroad.
start
watch
with
where
him.
You've had the 5 and the 7.
We're going
where
to
it's
start with
similar.
him. Okay, so
I like that font.
Now I go to next. So sorry, folks. Next is hidden off the bottom of the screen. Raw titanium, bronzed titanium. Okay, the machine bronze is where I'm at right
There you
now.
go.
This is like a car.
Yeah,
This fucking rules, dude. I'm so stoked. Rock. What do I want for a crown?
I'd say the raw copper because it patinas just like the case does. That's what I have on mine, so it kind of
Raw
gets a little
copper.
bit of patina.
Oh,
and
wait.
we are going to
Or
have
we
a
want
raw
this
bronze
guy?
as well.
Do you want the? Ooh, that's a little crunchy. I think maybe this
Yeah.
guy, right? This guy, and then we'll just go with a Cordovan black. Here we go. What a great slick sight here.
Yeah, it works
So-
out well, and you can switch it, so you can click that switch button under the watch, and you can see the movement side of it.
Beautiful. So my watch is $1,895,
There you go.
and then if I want to go back, can I pop out
Oh, yeah.
movements and just
Yep.
go boom?
Go wherever you want and change it out.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that looks really
that
good.
looks
actually.
great.
Yeah.
This is going to be so fun. Oh, man, what an expensive hobby this is going
I
to
mean,
be.
I do
Right.
this all day long and then go home and sit there and build watches on the builder. You know,
It's very cool,
it's
yeah.
to see what
Oh,
you can
this
come up
is
with.
this the movement you have here?
It's in
Gold
Illinois.
numbers?
Yeah, similar.
Similar, yeah.
Yep.
There's so many different dial designs too.
Yep.
Wow, this is amazing.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Yeah, that one's really
logo
cool.
on
That
That's
one's very
just
unique.
fantastic. You
Wow.
guys, there are so many fun dials, and I mean, I must have gone through 50 or 60. There's got to be 100 movements.
We
here,
try to
right?
have 100. We try to keep 100 on there. at all
Wow.
times.
So do you guys have like movement pickers? Like, where do you go find your movements?
Yeah, I mean, we find them all over the place, but pickers is the right word. I mean, we've
Yeah?
had people, a lot of people in Pennsylvania that
Dude,
we
that
go to. And,
rules.
yeah.
That looks great.
Looks good.
Is there no hover to zoom here? Got to get a
No.
You need to get a hover to
Okay,
zoom
all right.
feature happening.
All right, Darren, did you hear that? You're
This
watching
is
this. Do
really
that.
awesome. So you guys have pickers that just go around finding this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they were doing originally is finding these and going to estate sales and buying pocket watches and then selling them for the gold. But they would literally throw the movement in a drawer or a bucket
Yeah.
or throw them away. We went to one guy and he actually had holes the size of the different watches on the top of his workbench, and he'd slide the pocket watch over the top, put a punch on it, punch out the movement. He was just getting rid of them. Like, he didn't want them at all.
way. So you just buy like
We
a
said,
trash
"Guys,
bag
there's-
full of them?
Yeah, we buy a lot from them, and obviously you buy 50 movements. 25 of them are going to be
Yeah.
usable, and then after you start restoring them, maybe 20 of those are actually going to be finished watches.
And
know?
the ones you can't use, can you salvage some parts out of them? Is there
For
anything
sure,
that's
yeah.
worthwhile in
Oh
them?
yeah, no, we keep them for parts and keep them for the dials. Like, we'll buy 7-jewel watches. We don't do anything with a 7-jewel movement, but we'll buy those for the dials. You know,
Yeah.
because they a lot of times have really cool dials on them, and we'll use
Yeah.
those.
Wow, this is one of the cooler things I've seen. I'm glad I didn't know about the configurators earlier.
Yeah.
Right?
What's the Chicago World Champions about?
Yeah, so that was we found movements that were from 1907 when Chicago won their last World Series, and then we had a pin made out of the wood from the seats of Wrigley Field when they remodeled Wrigley Field, and made a pin in 2016 when they won again. So
Can you,
That's kind of a-
can you find some old baseball gloves and make straps?
That's
out of-
what those are.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah,
That's
yep.
a baseball glove. Oh, perfect. Old baseball glove material seems
It's
like a
great,
rad
yeah.
material.
it's
to
soft and it's really nice.
yeah, like pre-broken in.
Yep,
Yeah. Wow, dude, this shit rules.
right on.
What a great oh man, how do I not spend $5,000 now?
Yeah, it's time.
That's crazy.
Take a look at this
pause, yeah.
on here.
What do you got? What do you got, Cameron?
Okay, check out the click. It's right in the center. See, it looks like a moon.
Where am I looking here?
Right in the center of the screen.
This
Yeah.
this thing. Okay.
No,
The
it,
click
like
that
directly in the
attaches that wheel
center,
that stops
right
that wheel
next to
from
that wheel.
spinning.
This?
Yeah,
Okay.
zoom in on that.
Half moon
hold
click.
on.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah,
This was by far my favorite movement that I've ever seen. That's why I built
Oh,
that watch.
right. You see
Yeah.
that design?
Yeah.
You don't see that
So
very
what?
often.
What is that? This is this little thing that looks like a
Yeah.
half moon with a screw.
So
under it.
as you turn the crown to wind it,
oh, it's so it doesn't unwind.
so it doesn't unwind.
That's called the click.
Yeah. So you've got a
It's
click,
like a
and then
really
you've got the ratchet
beautiful
wheel
little
is the big
part.
wheel.
The ratchet wheel is a particularly pretty wheel as well. But
Yeah.
that's really nice.
Yeah.
But do you have a pretty click wheel, Cameron? And why not? Is the
Yeah.
question.
I mean,
Show
not
us
like
your
that.
pretty
No, honestly, I've never seen a
Yeah.
click like that.
I never have either until I saw that.
Can you see
movie.
This one's
yours?
too small.
That's the automatic.
This is the
movement.
small movement.
Yeah.
But like,
Do these other ones have
here's
awesome?
here's more of a standard click.
Oh, this one has more like a standard.
It's not normally
a standard-
something that's polished and decorated. It's
Yeah,
just kind of
yeah.
a part that works, you know?
Like you see the click in there.
Yeah.
It's just a regular old. It's got one tooth on it.
This one's
this
sort of in
one-
between. It looks a little bit like a fish.
Nice. Fish
Yeah.
click.
Yeah.
But that half moon with the chamfered edges and the polish on the chamfer is quite nice.
You lose it. Oh yeah.
Here
see,
it is.
That one's kind of fun too. That
Yeah.
one looks like a little like a gerbil or something. Or
Yeah.
It does look like
fish
a
with
little mouse.
a little fish with an open mouth,
Right.
right?
A little mouse.
Which was it? The big railroad one that had the pretty click.
Yeah, I mean it's particularly decorative, and you just don't see that very often.
So because these railroad movements at the time were like the nicest movements available, right?
Yep.
That was like the
Yep.
standard.
And you had to have one working on the railroad. You had
Right.
to have a railroad.
And I
rig.
guess a lot of people worked on railroads. It was
Yeah,
a
oh,
fairly
yeah.
popular industry at the
Definitely.
time, right? So what would do you know what one of those watches would cost new?
I mean, it's hard to
or
say like
the
'cause
modern equivalent of
yeah, it changed so much throughout the time, but I would probably say somewhere around $150.
like in the early 1900s. That's like a lot.
Oh, it's a lot. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Like
definitely
a
lot of
Model T was like $250
Yep.
in 1910. Like so it's like half as much as a car.
money. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, I wonder if that shit was
And that was the
tax-
railroad grade.
is that
Obviously, you could
tax
get some of the other
deductible?
ones for $25 or whatever for a
Yeah, but this railroad grade, like,
And
do they have
actually-
railroad grade movements that aren't huge?
I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like I lied to you.
What?
That's in a railroad case, but that's not a railroad grade watch. It's only a 19 joule movement.
Oh.
So we're not going to sell a railroad watch unless it's a railroad grade watch. But I found that one and built that for myself, and I was like, I don't care. It's 19 joules.
Oh,
This
okay.
thing is awesome.
All right. So
But yeah.
this is an off-market watch.
It is, yeah. And it's 19 joules, but
Oh man,
I mean,
and
it's
I was
gorgeous.
putting the hard sell on it. I think that's
Yeah.
one of the most beautiful pocket watch
I know.
movements I've seen.
That's why, yeah.
It's nice.
Now, are there Swiss pocket watch movements that come across your guys' desk?
Definitely.
And do you do anything with them, or is that against your
Yeah,
company's
we don't
ethos?
do anything for us. We're not going to build one and sell it on our website or put it on the watch builder. But if you have one that's in your family or you bought and you want us to convert it, we'll definitely convert it for you.
Who in Switzerland was making good movements that are worth using?
Everyone. Yeah, I mean Paddock.
Has
was
someone
making a bunch of stuff.
brought you like an AP movement or some
We
crazy
haven't had
shit
an
like
AP
that?
come through. We've had some Paddocks, and
Really?
they weren't the size that we could convert, which we were kind of bummed about because it would have been cool to do that. But it also felt kind of wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
they were so nice. The ones that came in, they were so expensive in solid gold cases and super
Yeah.
nice pocket watches. So it felt like those should stay
Yeah.
as a pocket watch. But we've had some Omegas. We've done a couple Omegas that turned out really well.
Yeah.
Turned out really nice. Yeah.
How cool. What's like? I mean, okay. Other than other than the saving of history and and all of that, and American pride, et cetera, what do you think people need to know about this company? I mean, I find this very interesting. I'm glad you're here because like holding this stuff, it feels like much. Your prices are not low.
For sure.
These are expensive pieces, and
Yep.
so. It actually seems like something that I would want to like wear, which is good.
Yeah, that's
but
great.
like, what do you think people need to know about this stuff?
I
Because
mean, you kind of told
someone's
me
gonna be
not
like,
to talk
"Holy
about the
shit."
things that they need to know about. I mean, the American-made part of it and preserving the history of it, and I mean that's really what we're about.
What's the biggest challenge in your business?
I think the biggest challenge is getting watches that actually work. We get them restored and we get them working, and a lot of them don't quite make it through the testing and have to go back and forth and really get a lot more work done to get them to where we want them.
Did you say it was 50% of them work? Is that what you said?
I
Or
would say it's
50% are
probably
worth?
somewhere around what we buy is 50%, but that's also, we buy a lot of 7 joules just for the dials. So those kind of get figured into that number too. But yeah, there's a big percentage of them don't get done or have been worked on. I mean, they're 100 years old.
Yeah.
So how many watchmakers that had no idea what they were doing have worked on these watches?
Yeah.
And we get that from our watchmakers a lot. Like, nope, this one's been worked on way too much by the wrong people. It's not going to work,
Well, these watches also came in cases that the owner could open up.
Absolutely.
That's a no-no.
Yeah.
It's not good.
If you could just pop the
Yeah.
watch open and use your finger to change the little regulator and start touching things, that's the worst thing you could do to a watch.
Or
Yeah.
if something's not working, you pull it off and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, it's a little screw right there and that wheel's not, I'm going to just try that and see
Yeah.
if I can make it work.
So a lot of times owners did things to them and,
Yeah.
it didn't work, and then it goes in a drawer and
Yeah.
eventually it got scrapped and it ends up with you
For
guys,
sure.
and maybe you can restore it,
Yeah.
but maybe not.
And any of the watches can be restored, but it's like, how much is it going to take and
Yeah.
how much time and money does it take to get to that point?
Yeah.
If it's a 17 joule Elgin that, the value of the pocket watch originally not working is not very much. You don't want to put $1,500 into the movement. You can get another one that's working better and
Totally.
make it work. So,
Yeah.
which is kind of a bummer because we do see a lot that get scrapped or used for parts, but we're keeping as many as we can.
What do you think? Like, where what is the future of this business? Is it just are you guys on a momentum right now that you're just making as many as you can sell, or do you feel the need to somehow innovate in this market?
For sure. I mean, we're always thinking about new things and different things, and we started with the 2-piece case, went to this 1-piece 3D printed. Now we're machining. What's
the oldest watch you have here?
As far I don't know.
Right.
Yeah,
these
that's
are
a good
all
question.
these are
We
all
could
pretty
look 'em
new.
up.
No, I didn't mean movement wise.
Oh,
but
from
like,
us? Yeah, they're all
like-
brand new.
Yeah, so you don't
Yeah.
have any of your like early.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So
I
how
don't
do
have any of
these
those.
differ from your early pieces?
So there's a lot. The early piece was a 2-piece case. So you put it together and actually screwed the case together around the movement. And there was no water resistance. It was just open, to the elements. There was enough room to get water and stuff like that in there. So that was the big change to go to the 1-piece case where we could actually, glue the crystals in and have some water resistance and make a watch that would be a little more resistant to the elements.
And I can't remember if we discussed this before or during our recording. That
Yeah.
it's 1 atmosphere. So
Correct.
You don't want people swimming in them.
We don't.
But if you're washing dishes, that's
fine.
okay.
Yeah.
A splash proof.
Totally
is really
splash
what
proof.
it.
Yeah.
What it,
And we test them higher than that, but we just don't want people to be jumping into a lake with them or anything like that because that's just not what they're for.
yeah. Well, it's also a leather band.
Yeah.
So you don't
Yeah.
want to really do that.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen people put other cool bands on these? Like,
Yeah, they put a lot of different stuff on there. Nobody really does a NATO strap, obviously, because it covers up the movement on the back, and that's
Yeah.
one of the cool parts of it.
I'm thinking the canvas. Like
Yeah.
I like my canvas straps.
That
I think
Bosphorus
Yep.
one,
the
or,
Bosphorus
right?
one from Turkey.
One
I'm
of
a
those
big
thick,
fan
chunky
of.
ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, did someone make a metal bracelet for this that looks cool?
I mean, it's 22 millimeters, so there's definitely some metal bracelets out there. But
Someone at Uncle
yeah.
Seiko's got like a. They've got something that'll work for this,
Oh,
like
yeah.
a Jubilee,
For
like
sure.
that could work really
Yep.
cool. I mean, these things are super, super cool, dude.
So I even notice on the machine cases, you've got these are machine buckles as well.
So yeah, so that's the new buckle. I mean, they're not. We started putting them on the railroad watches, and we're going to start putting them soon on all the watches that we sell.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's a buckle that we made off our machines.
As opposed to what buying
And that one on the
buying
railroad is the same.
Originally,
regular.
Yeah.
you were buying them as
And
Universal
these ones,
or whatever.
yeah, these ones, the raw ones that we had, like on this this watch here, is hand forged. So that was a cool buckle. But we just wanted to do a machine buckle that kind of matched our case out of the same material. You know, if it's a titanium watch, we wanted a titanium buckle.
Yeah, totally. That's really cool.
Yeah, nice little detail.
Yeah.
So this one over here, same material. This is going to be a copper?
Yep.
Or
Bronze.
bronze,
yeah.
okay.
That's a solid bronze case, right?
It is.
Yeah. Wait, here. Sorry, Cameron. I'll go back.
So there's the buckle and your case.
I
And this one's the one with the patina you've been wearing, right?
Yeah, correct.
I think that one's actually my favorite. My favorite one you brought. I love that dial. I love the patina on the case.
Yep.
That rules. Have you found? These have got to be like great talking pieces.
They are. They're conversation pieces
Like,
everywhere we go. And
yeah.
it's the only watches that I have that you have to take off to show someone.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you wear another watch and they're like, nice watch. And you're like, cool, thanks, man.
Yeah.
But these ones, you have to take it off and hand it to them so they can see that movement and see
Yeah.
everything that's going on inside there.
I feel like this is definitely the kind of watch that like a non-watch person would ask you about.
Yep.
Like I have a bunch of different watches, but the only watch that anyone ever gives a shit about is my gold G-Shock. I wore my gold G-Shock to Radwood,
Yeah.
and 2 people offered to buy it off me.
Yeah.
But a Rolex, whatever, no one gives a
No one
shit
cares.
really.
Yeah.
But I feel like these look so different.
Yeah.
That
Well-
like folks would have to ask you like, what is that thing?
Yeah. And a lot of our customers aren't watch people. I mean, we're taking people that aren't normal watch people that you would normally, market to
Yeah.
that love what we're doing or have their grandpa's watch that we convert for them. So,
Yeah.
and they're like, I don't ever wear watches, but I want to get this thing out of the shoebox in the closet and use it.
How do you find
is a good
those
way to do it.
people? How do you?
They find us.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely been a word of mouth thing that a couple people called and asked in the early days. And we said, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't we do that? Like, there's no reason why we couldn't do that. And then we just put it on the website and started letting people know that we could convert their watches. And that turned into a big part of the business. We get a
Yeah.
lot of watches sent in that we convert.
Really?
Or just restore,
So
'cause
how
our
does
guys are
that
good with
work,
pocket watches.
like price-wise? Do you have like a set kind of price
Yeah,
for
so-
a watch conversion?
Yep. So for the regular, we call it the American Artisan Series, in a 3D printed case, it's $1,500, and that's any option that you want. So you can choose any strap, any case color, any of those
That's
options.
when you
and it's-
provide a pocket watch.
When you provide a pocket
So
watch. And that-
1,500 plus. Does it have to be a working pocket
Nope,
watch?
that includes a full restoration of the watch.
Wow, that's
That's
actually
nice.
not so
Yep.
bad.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yep.
All right.
That's cool.
And then they'll get the watch and they'll get if it was in a case,
Yeah, they'll get
the
the
case
case.
back,
Yep.
and
Yep.
that's cool.
But you won't turn their pocket watch case into a watch.
No.
Yeah.
No way.
So the case is still intact if
Yep.
they ever want to switch back.
Yeah, we don't change. We don't mess with anything as far as the movement or the original pocket watch case. It's all exactly the same as it was. We don't want to change anything. Actually, the only thing that we change is on the railroad. We do have to make an extended lever, and you can see here. There's a lever if you wanted to show that.
Oh,
So that's a part
what
that
is
we're
that?
making on our CNC mill. So we take the old lever off. We didn't want to modify the lever, so we remove the old lever. We put our lever on that's about 1.5 millimeters longer to get outside of our case so
Yeah.
that you can pull that lever. And it's a little bit taller as well. So mine has an original lever, so it's a little bit harder to grab, but our levers that we put on are a lot easier to grab.
So
and pull.
compared to that one, the consumer or the one you guys sell, the
Yep.
leather sticks out just a little.
Correct.
Lever
Lever. Yep.
sticks out a little farther. And are they all 22 millimeter straps? Everything? No
Everything's
matter what,
22. Yeah.
No matter what size?
Yeah, the zero size, the small 36 millimeter watch is a 20 millimeter strap, but the rest of them are 22.
Man, I feel like if I had to make one criticism, it would
Yeah.
be if you had a 51 I might go for a 24 millimeter lug width on that.
For sure. And we've talked about that, and that's definitely something we might do in the future. And we have another watch coming out that we'll probably end up doing a 24 millimeter strap.
Is it like
on
gigantic?
It's 49. It'll probably be 49 or 50. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you've pretty much seen, so far, like, has almost every possible pocket watch that was made during that time come across your guys' desk so far?
No.
You're constantly finding new stuff?
Yeah. Every week, every time we look at, every time somebody sends something in, what is that?
Really?
And like when I saw that Burlington, that's my railroad there, I saw that thing come through and I was like, nope, that's mine.
Yeah. How is it hard? Is it hard to not just start making watches for yourself?
Yes. Almost impossible.
How many watches do you have?
Just 3. I only have 3. Yeah, but that number will definitely grow.
Yeah. What do you other than company marketing aside, other than Vortic watches, what do you like in your collection?
I just like unique stuff. I like stuff that I found, like that railroad that we keep talking about. I love the numbers on that and the decoration on the movement itself, and just everything about it's so unique and different. Like the swirls on there. Now that you said the 7,
now
and the
that
5
you know the 7 is a backwards 5, you can't unsee that shit.
You can't. It's there.
It's that the font on this watch. I'm going to zoom in on these numbers. Like,
I love that font.
The font is spectacular.
Yeah.
It's a really, really like pretty. The 11 up here looks like it's got like eyes.
Yeah.
Like it's a really
candlesticks,
fun, really fun font.
But I kind of want to put something together from all the different companies. I have that Illinois, the 12 size, and I have that Burlington, and I need an Elgin, I need a Waltham.
Will you guys ever mix and match hands? Like if you find a dial that's good and you'll find some other hands that are good, you'll just mix and match?
Yeah, we try to keep them together. So everything that we get that has a dial in hands, we like to put it on the website no matter what condition it is, because everyone wants something different. But if we get one like this one here, this is how we got it. No dial, no hands, just a movement,
sans anything.
So we'll find a dial that fits that, and we'll find hands that fit that.
Yeah, this is the dial side of the watch.
But that's 99% of the watches we
side.
get look just like that with a dial and hands on them. So they're out of the case, dirty, ready to be cleaned up and rebuilt.
It's a very cool business. I mean, I love the idea of saving this stuff and making something new out of it. And these watches, like this one looks like it's like brand new, came off an assembly line. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like put this one, compared to this one here, like these are basically the same watch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like one is yours and patinaed on the dial, and the others are actually it's a 3D printed dial. Sorry,
yeah.
But like
they're both
just the
12
fact
size.
that you have
Yep.
the range of you could buy one that looks like it came off an assembly line yesterday, or you could buy one that looks like it was saved from the bottom of the ocean. Like that's pretty cool, man.
It's great. And you see the whole gamut. I mean, and you have customers that want that, They get the watch in the mail and they're like, I see a crack in it. It's a brand new watch and it has a crack in the dial. Well, the dial's 100 years old.
That was the point.
And that was in there, If we show them the pictures and they see the crack, but then they say, can you find one that doesn't have a crack? I want it to be perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll take some time, but we'll find something that looks similar with no cracks.
Do you have like a list of wanteds, like a list of requests on the desk? So it's like if you find a white dial with red numbers, or if you find a whatever. How neat.
So this one's open, so I want to kind of show this
for sure.
that lever set, which is that part that you guys machine, at least for the new watch, right?
Yes, for the
Before
railroad
there was
grade
no
watch.
lever sets. You just steered clear of them.
Yep.
So right here, you've got the lever.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
So instead of pulling a crown out to set it, you actually pull this lever out. The crown would be up here.
Yeah.
But it's missing, so you guys probably have a bin of those as well.
Well, ours, those are in they stay in the pocket watch case. So those crowns are attached to the pocket watch case, and then ours are on our case.
Exactly.
Except for, I guess, that one that you said had the brand new looking dial. That's actually a detent set watch. So that crown, that stem is all a part of that movement, basically.
Wait.
No, this
one.
one
It's
here.
this one.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry.
But anyway, this part here
was
machined to make it longer so it sticks out of the case.
Correct.
And then it goes under this bezel.
It's real cool. Great
Right?
business. Yeah. I see the value in this.
Good.
I mean, there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it.
There
I mean,
is,
You
yeah.
got to find watches that are salvageable. Half of them you throw away or
Keep as
scrap
parts.
for
Yeah,
parts.
keep for parts.
Got to make cases and design work, and there's more to it than just taking apart a pocket watch
For
and put it
sure.
in a different case.
Yeah.
And that's a huge piece of titanium.
Yeah,
and then you
here's
just throw
Here's
away the rest
block.
of it,
That's
you
what-
know?
That's what we start with. Is that there?
Right?
Oh yeah, look at that.
You're
Put-
basically
so-
just
this is-
creating titanium scraps.
And here's the bottom.
Here,
of
wait.
it if
Put
you want to show
that
part.
under this. So you got a titanium case, and I'll zoom out slightly here. And yeah, you got a block. What does a block of titanium cost?
We buy it in a big rod and cut those pieces off. So
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
what the actual cost of that puck is.
I don't know. What does a block of titanium weigh?
It's heavier than you would
It's
think.
heavier than you'd think.
But
a block
obviously,
of
if-
stainless steel has got to weigh
Yeah.
at least twice
a
as
lot,
much, right?
Yeah.
Is this what you machine a case from, Cameron? Something like this?
Similar, except so. Take a look at this how it starts. You guys are putting this in a milling machine, right?
Correct.
So what you guys do is you create this slug, vise it up or some kind of fixture,
Yep.
and then machine it out, cut it off, flip it
Yeah.
over,
Yep.
machine again. We use a bar milling machine, kind of. So we take the whole bar, stick it in one machine. It's an 8-foot bar, stainless steel, about the same
Yep.
diameter. Cut it all in one operation, so there's no flipping of parts or chopping. That's how we do the cases. We do movement parts like this, where we actually make these slugs and load them into our mill. But something like this, you could easily transfer this part over to a bar milling machine.
Yep.
And then you actually have the whole bar feeding out.
Yep.
And
those
instead
are-
of doing the weird cutoffs and all this extra work that
Yep.
you have to do in order to mill it this way, you cut it the other way, and then it's all done in the machine, and your little part falls out and it's finished.
Oh.
And then all you have to do is the polishing and
Yep.
whatever extra finishing has to be done.
Wow, how cool.
But
How many watches have you guys sold, you think?
total from the beginning of the company,
Yeah.
I would say over 1,000.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been great, and year after year we're selling more. And
How many do you
and
think
doing
you'll
more.
sell in 2018?
I think we're gonna hit right around that 700 number for
Wow,
2018.
that's
So
great.
That's good. Yeah.
Oh, so this is your biggest year by a
for
lot.
sure. Yeah, and our biggest month was last month by a long shot. Like
Wow.
we're doing- yeah.
What was the big jump? What happened that got you to that next level?
I mean, I think our company is big in just word of mouth. I mean, it's not our typical watch audience. So I think we get watches to people, and then their friends see that and say, "I have a pocket watch in my closet. I want to do the same thing." So I think the more people that have our watches, the more people are going to buy our watches, because I think the word of mouth is our best advertising.
That's awesome. And the Watch and Listen podcast.
And the Watch and Listen podcast. Yes, that's what I meant to
it'll
say.
just start snowballing.
Well, that's great, man. Follow Vortic Watches on Instagram, of course, alongside, of course. Oh boy, still got this picture up. The Weiss Watch Company, which you got any Rover watches left? They're all gone.
Yeah, we do have some Rover watches
The
left.
here it is. The Land Rover dialed watches. Cameron's only making quite a few of those. Quite a few. That sounds like a lot. Not
Right? I know.
not very many of
Yeah.
those.
Yeah.
Quite rare. And then of course, myself on Instagram. You know the drill. I got a new T-shirt.
Hey, I like that
You like my new
graphic.
T-shirt?
Nice.
That's my new December T-shirt. You go to thesmokingtire.com/store. And you can buy this T-shirt from today, which is December 10th, through Christmas. December 23rd is the last day.
So now that we have snow up in the mountains, are you taking?
I'm going
it
to
up?
I'm going to go to Mammoth with it in January.
Nice.
Yeah. There's been a little setback with the 911.
Yeah, I saw a picture with the engine out.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
here it is.
Doesn't
Here
run
it
as
is
well.
right now.
Uh-huh. Yeah, good.
It's at Marco's at TLG. Marco Gerasi, who's been on our show before, it needs a top end rebuild, which
Oops.
is I found at a particularly inopportune time.
Yeah.
I got it back from a year-long build. I had it for 3 days. Everything was great.
Yeah.
And then it started smoking like a bitch.
yeah.
And so it needs a top-end rebuild. But Marco is going to hook it up, and he's going to get me sorted, hopefully by New Year's. And then, mild setback.
Yeah.
Mild setback. But I'm traveling a lot in December, so it's no big deal.
There's still winter. January's still good. You'll still have
January's
time.
going to be awesome, dude. I'm 100% going to Mammoth with this thing
Yeah.
in January. And, of course, vorticwatches.com. Buy a watch. I'm going to this configurator tonight.
Yeah, do it.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to figure out a way to resist giving you $5,000.
Don't try too hard.
I can
We
just
welcome
see
that.
it happening. I know. I'm going to end up buying one of these
Yeah.
things eventually, for sure. They're lovely, and they really present well in person.
Yeah.
They feel very solid. They feel absolutely like luxury items. So, Thayne, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I was
Thayne,
happy to come out.
the man with no last name. And Genevieve, welcome.
Yes.
Welcome.
Congratulations
Yeah.
Welcome.
again.
Thank you.
Welcome, lady. I look forward to hitting on you in 18 years. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, folks. Thank you all for listening. We are off next week because it's Christmas.
Woo.
And nobody listens to podcasts on Christmas. But we will be back after that in the new year. Thank you for listening. Good night.